then I'd like to officially open the meeting. Today is the 12th of May, and this is the Newbury Open Space Committee. We have, this is a little bit earlier start for us, and typically we'll start off with any guests or citizens. So if they're coming in, we can introduce them and see if we can see what they would like to talk about.
All right. Do you want to do like just roll call? I feel like we can all see our names, but Christina Hoffman.
Sure.
Mike
Bill
Bartolini.
Hoffman.
Oh, sorry.
Mike, Bill Hoffman, Christina Hoffman, and from the town of Newbury, we have
Sadie Woodward, assistant planner.
Hi, Kristen Grubbs, planning director.
all right.
And Sean McElroy.
There he is. Hey, Sean.
I made it. Okay.
Nice job. Is that it, Sadie?
I think that's it for committee members. And yes, there's a guest. If we want to invite him to
Yeah.
provide a query.
Yeah. All right. So there's no citizens, and so I guess I've missed the last two meetings, but I've seen the minutes. They're extremely helpful. I think the last one, Christina, you got to transcribe. Has everybody had a chance to review these meeting minutes? And is there any comments?
Just thank you for doing that last meeting. I appreciate that very much.
No problem.
They look good to me.
Okay. Then if everybody agrees, I'd like to move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay.
Sure. And we'll accept both of them, the March 24th one and the April 21st one. There's two sets. Is that what
Yeah.
we're moving to approve?
I'm good with
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Okay.
And was that last meeting was the first set wasn't approved? Is that why there was two?
It was my fault. I had not sent them out in time to give enough people to review. So we approved the April 7th, I believe, but we hadn't approved the March 24th. So there's those two.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. So then, so the next on the agenda is confirm sending out narrative to Merrimack Valley. So how do we stand with that right now?
So yeah, I wanted to just ask everyone if I know we had talked last meeting about everyone has like this last period to submit any more comments, and then we can send it to Kay to do more of a literary, fine-tooth comb review with, talking about voice and making everything cohesive. So I think I just wanted to use this meeting to confirm with everyone that everyone's done their due diligence with the narrative and is ready to send it over to Kay.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that I know that section 4 we put our final refinements in, and I just put a few refinements in sections 1 and 2 as well, their suggestions. So maybe you could just take a look at those, Sadie, and see if you agree or don't agree. One of the concepts that sort of jumped out at me was really focusing in on the fact that this was an update to a plan from 2010. And I just wasn't sure if that was necessary to kind of go back to that concept, because the plan, there's like a new set of regulation or new set of guidance documents, and this is like a new plan. And so I almost feel like just calling it an update to the 2010 almost doesn't do it justice, And so I wanted to just sort of like the town of Newbury, open space committee prepared an open space and recreation plan and just sort of like not keep referring to the 2000 plan. And part of my rationale for saying that is that I don't know where we landed on the action plan. But if like we look back at the old action plans and we didn't do anything on it, or like we haven't made a lot of progress on it, then I'm just like I don't feel obliged to keep referring back to it. And I don't want them to look at it either. So anyway, that was just my thought process. So I'm totally can be overruled. It just jumped out at me.
I agree with that. I can change that language, and I think hearing you say I think it would be good to mention, the update to the requirements from DCS. Just so that, the public looking at these in a series, maybe,
Yeah,
understand
Incorporating
what we've been
information,
working on.
from the 2025, the 2025 DCR, like don't even say that those were updated, just be like the 2025, DCR guidance book, as well as all of our great information the town has been putting together over the last few years. I liked all those documents that you referenced in there.
Awesome.
Okay, so take a look, see what I did.
Okay, and other than that, I think Jim had said he had wanted to update some things in his section, but I think everyone else kind of felt good. And I do want to add the greenbelt maps. I keep meaning to do that, but I haven't. I am planning on doing that before I send it to Kay.
Did they get you the updated versions yet or not yet? They did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And they look great.
It doesn't look like Jim maybe got a chance to get in and make his changes because he had some yellow highlighted text in there that was like key things that he was maybe going to work on, and they're still highlighted in yellow, in dark yellow. So I'm just not sure that he had a chance to do that, but I say we just send it off anyway. I would maybe not hold off on it. Oh, Bill.
I'm back. I'm trying to stop the sun because I can't see you guys.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to like not be blinded. Sorry, I'm not to interrupt here, but I'm working on getting blinds for my new office space, but they're not in yet. Sorry.
One thing that can be updated in section 5 that I worked on, and really I've just been waiting since time keeps moving on, is importing an updated chapter lands list, because that changes every April, I think. So just depending when we were ready to do the final, I would ask the assessor for the most recent list, and if there are any changes, I would just add or subtract from that list. But I didn't, as the calendar kept flipping with the plan, I just didn't see the point in continuously updating that section. I don't think there'll be many other updates. I mean, that's data for you, right? As soon as you put it together, there's a new set out there. Just thinking from the Greenbelt side of things, we have 1 or 2 projects in the pipeline in Newbury, but don't really know the definitive end date yet. So little things like that could get changed as we're ready to like submit the final. But otherwise, I feel pretty good about section 5 as well.
We were just talking about the chapter lands list. Yeah, so I appreciate that you were thinking about putting that in right at the last minute, because it does change slightly year to year. So
yeah, and I think the table I have in there was 2024. So just even that is already out of date. But I do have that kind of lingering in the back of my mind. Once we're ready like to submit, I could get the most current list from the assessor pretty quickly.
I think the enrollment's in the fall, so I think we can, if we at whatever point we'll get it. Yeah.
And yeah, I can connect with Jim to talk about his edits before I send it to Kay. Is that what you're saying, Christina?
Yeah, I mean, you could just let him know you're sending it to Kay, and even if you wanted to do something in parallel, I feel like it's time to send it to Kay.
I agree. Okay. Cool. And I was thinking, yeah, I'll definitely send it to her either tomorrow or Thursday of this week. Cool.
And they know that it's coming. Did you guys talk to them, right? You told us that last
Yes,
time that they're like, yep.
we have. So Kay originally allocated, I think it was 10 hours to review the draft. And so with the first review, we have 4.5 hours left, but we also have MVPC LTA hours that haven't been allocated to the OSRP. So we have more. There might not be enough for all the way through to the end with the action plan review and everything, but we the hours get replenished July 1st. So if we do end up making it to that point and she hasn't finished the review, we'll get more hours with her.
Great.
All right.
So yeah.
Great. So what about section 6? I know that in the action plan, I know Mike and Martha did some work on that while I was away. I probably missed a little bit of that update. How does that come together, and where can we help?
Actually, Kristen did a draft, which I think is really great. She spent some time last week. And I just like a few minutes ago before the meeting uploaded her draft to the Google folder with, I think I put it in the OSRP draft. It's like its own document. I figured you all could review and leave comments or put edits, like suggested edits, if you'd like.
So can I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead,
See?
Kristen.
Okay. So what I did last week post town meeting was celebrate. And then I had to dog sit at my sister's. So I brought the open space plan with me on Thursday. And it was actually, I will say, very enjoyable. When you have time to dig your teeth into this stuff, I find it really rewarding. That's why I'm a planner. But I also just want to say, you guys, just kind of reading through the whole narrative and then looking at the survey documents, looking at like different documents of brainstorming, and I read through some minutes and I read the workbook and just kind of got my head around the whole thing. And I do feel like we're getting close. You guys are doing a lot of work. So what I did specifically was focus, as Sadie had sort of asked me to, was focus on that section 6 and the link to section 7. So I did have to really review the workbook to like remind myself what that analysis of needs really is, and that, you know, again, how it's linked to the action items, because I feel like the documents I saw that are the action plan in development that you guys have already, you know, gotten together make a lot of sense to me. But I did sort of step away from that to focus on that analysis of needs and thinking about how exactly they want that done in the workbook. So I looked at, you know, how some other recent towns have written that section 6 up. So they really want it short. They don't want it longer than 5 pages. I think what I've drafted now is like 3.5. They've parsed it out. You've all probably reviewed it more regularly than I had, but there's sort of 3 sections they ask. One is natural resource protection. The next is outdoor recreation. And then the final is like management, which is sort of not land management, but like sort of management of the planning document and the action plan, like more administrative management for implementing the plan. So I drafted something up. I have no like ownership of it. Happy to have people edit, suggest, see if it makes sense to you in terms of a summary of, all the work that's built up to where you are, your deep dives and your sections, but really thinking about, the needs, right? It's like what has been uncovered by the research for the narrative and the public input, including the work, Mike, that you and Martha, have been working with Sadie on and looking at the old plan, seeing what hasn't been accomplished. Well, is it still a need? Have the needs changed? So just really thinking about it and trying to summarize in as simple and straightforward and short a way as possible. So take a look at that. Sadie, put it in the drive, see what you think. Again, totally happy to get any input on it. And you guys, are the experts at this point. So then the way the workbook says is like build that into your action items, right? So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, okay, let's keep it in these 3 buckets that the workbook says we should be thinking about it in: natural resource protection, open space recreation, and then the sort of management stuff. So the draft action plan that I started working on, and Sadie and I've been reviewing this week, is taking all the brainstorming documents that you guys had already started and just kind of like dumping it into the structure of those 3 buckets. So right now, the action plan is a spreadsheet. It has 4 columns. I think that's what, Kay had suggested. Yeah, thanks. I think, the old plan had like a lot of columns. There was just like so much content. It wasn't that simple to take a glance at and understand. But so actions, who's the lead and who's support, timing, and potential funding. Mostly, as you'll see, there's like blank in the 3 columns on the right. So all that this is right now is an attempt to, again, with the needs structure driving, how it's organized, just dumping in action items that have been identified through the public meeting, through any discussions, my own thoughts, looking at the old plan, bringing forward what, Mike and Martha and Sadie identified as still needing to be done, kind of just chunking it in here. So still messy, but again, I guess the request I would suggest for all of you is to look at that analysis of needs, the section 6, think about that, and then see if this makes sense in terms of a way to organize the actions. I have no ownership of goals, objectives, actions. Like I haven't reviewed my notes from college to think about like what's the difference between a goal and an objective and an action item. So totally interested in any input on that. But again, just sort of bringing items in, putting it in the category that matches what we've said our needs are as a start. So one thing also to think about when you're looking at this would be what's missing. Like, what do you know from your section 4 or section 3 or, the mapping that is omitted from this brain dump of action items? And then just think about like, if there's big gaping holes or like small things that you don't want to, lose track of, like a particular property item or something. Getting it in here, and then as it gets formatted, I think it will be an effort to sort of fill in all the blanks and potentially resort. The sorting hasn't happened yet outside of those big chunks. So I've just talked a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that was fantastic. And then when I was looking back at, I think the town of Hudson's plan, they had a very similar approach, and I really liked it. To me, it organizes things very well. And by you just doing this brain dump, putting this in here too, it'll give us a really, really helpful and really good starting point how to add and prioritize and organize it. Um, the column, I guess, was it D and E. So the timing and potential funding source, what would that be for the town of Newbury? Timing is one thing I know, but the funding source, what should we put there?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're, I mean, same, I had that question too, because there's only so many, right? Like grants, private, you know, how many funding sources are there? But I guess, and maybe this is a question we can kind of get some input from MVPC on, because I think some of our potential funding sources are actually going to be action items, right? And until we maybe take some of those actions, we don't necessarily have a funding source. But to the extent we can put in a particular, you know, the land grant, the park grant, you know, state grants that are available for a particular match, maybe there's some other creative funding sources I haven't thought of yet.
I mean, that
I'm not
is
sure.
the point of doing this is so we can start identifying and going for more funding sources and get more active even within the town to generate funds. So is it possible we could just do like TBD to be determined, or
I'm sure
you know,
we can explain that in a way that makes sense.
We can't be
Yeah.
the only town
Yeah.
with an open space plan that doesn't have clear funding paths, I assume.
No.
At least I hope we're not the only one, you know?
No.
I don't know.
We're gonna put in partnering with, you know, regional land trusts in
Yeah.
every column.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a good question, Bill. I think we'll need to figure out, because maybe there's a way to not have that column and just sort of have a separate category of, you know, all of our work needs to lead towards sorting through the best way to establish, you know, sustainable funding sources for our actions. Yeah. I don't know.
This is so helpful though, Kristen. Like this is just what we were talking about on the last meeting that we needed to do. And so I'm Sadie, well done wrangling Kristen to actually do it and like read the whole thing and, you know, pull it all together and like really simplify the massive table that was there. We were like, no, 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 it can only be a few columns. And so just thank you, thank you, thank you for
Yeah.
putting that together. And I actually can't find it. So could you just go back, Sadie, and show me which folder it's in? There's an
Yes.
action plan folder and then there's an OSRP draft folder. And
I put a PDF of the, maybe I didn't upload it. I thought I did.
okay, good. I'm not crazy. I was like, I thought it would be in the action plan folder or in the draft folder, but I didn't see it in either. And if these documents that are in the action plan, okay, I see it now. It just popped up.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And I figured it would be okay for now to do a PDF to avoid things getting deleted by accident.
Yeah, the 2010 one was so vast and far reaching.
Yeah, and I know this is like the same format kind of with the columns, but I think it works. The way it's organized is so much more like understandable with the brain, just like looking at it instead of trying to comprehend like how vast it was the last time. And the way it lines up with the summary, you can kind of, you know, get the summary, and then if you want to look at more of the details, you have the table, but it aligns a lot more with the narrative and everything. So
I think, I mean, I'll let you guys, obviously you're just seeing this for the first time, but what Sadie and I were talking about was, well, let's see, check it all out, obviously. Spend as much time as you have or want to. One big question is what's missing? Like what things just don't you see that you know you've all talked about and or just have identified in the sections you've worked on or whatever it is. Maybe those could all just come to either we can figure out a way to share this document so you can get in there, or you could just like make your bullet list, send them to Sadie, and then she and I can like chunk them into the places we think make sense. That's sort of one maybe piece of homework potentially. After we do that, then I think the next task is harder, right? Which would be sort of making sure it's organized right in terms of what level or the objective, the broader goals are big, but then the sort of like next level is more of a question mark to me in terms of objectives. Action items, it's pretty easy to get, you can have any specificity you want in an action item, but it's kind of that middle organizing range that I was getting a little just confused on. And brain power working together, I think it's achievable. But like when I look at this first goal, objective 1.1, it goes up to I, right? A through I, like that's a lot of things. Maybe there's a way to like, chunk it out into even smaller groups of items, kind of thinking about those questions. Who's the lead and the support? I was really trying to think about something that I think Mike and Martha and Sadie and I talked about a little, which is it would be great if this plan isn't just telling another committee you should be doing that, right? And I know David Powell's talked about that with all of us. And I agree, like it's hard to tell Greenbelt you have to do something or tell the historic commission this is your job or whatever. So really trying to, in terms of simplifying, like what are the things that we as a planning department and an open space committee and the rec committee, they're an active player here, even though we're doing the bulk of this writing. I think they're absolutely super active, and we should make sure that they're identified as a lead on the things they want to be lead on. But if there's a way to keep kind of an eye on that in terms of like simplifying the actions we say we're going to do, I think that's a way. There's a lot in our town's master plan that covers everything. Like a lot of this stuff is in our master plan, but it's in the master plan. It's up to the master planning, committee and the select board to kind of be the lead on it. So I just don't think this particular plan has to cover everything, right? Like it really is a way to hone in on the biggest priorities. And then what I'd say about timing is just 10 years is kind of a long time in some ways. So I think a 1 to 3 year time frame is probably the way to think about like short, medium, long, just like 1 to 3 years. What should we do in the first 1 to 3 years? Medium, long. I don't think it has to be more specific than that, where we say like in 2028, we're going to do this. Like things can change. We don't know for sure, where the town will be in 2 years. We can be a little broader with that timing thing from my perspective.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. And that's definitely some good punch list items for us to go through and take that on. That'd be great.
So you just want individual like lists from us instead of commenting directly in the document? Did I hear that?
I think,
If that makes sense. Yeah. You guys talk about it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to do whatever keeps it the most clear and organized for you, Sadie, and Kristen for that matter, for trying to incorporate it in if it's easier to get individual, emails from us with comments. That's great.
I think that'll work.
Okay.
And then I'll add them in. Mhm.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
think though what's missing is like an easy to do by email, right? Like what are some
Yeah.
bullets of things that are missing? That's sort of next, like organizing. I think we should talk about the best way to it's probably would be hard to do that in a group writing way, unless I would suggest maybe like sitting around in person, with a big piece of paper or whatever, computer, whatever. That might be easier to do all together. And I know CD said you guys have talked about sort of a real workshopping meeting like that as being a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like if once we go through this and read everything that you've added there, it's almost like we need someone to just kind of take a lead on it and just try to take a first stab and then go to the group and say, well, this is how I interpreted this is an objective, or these are how I broke it down. I mean, without seeing what the work that you already did.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's already in there and we don't need to do that, but I'm trying to think in my head the best way to organize it. And it seems like if there's like one or two people that took a lead on it and then brought it back to the group, and then we could kind of come to a consensus. Seems like that's the model we've been using anyways, right? Everybody kind of takes their homework, goes home, works on it a bit, and then comes back for review.
We could also maybe divvy it up, like everybody take the action item of adding anything that that is a priority that you want to make sure is listed in the table. And then maybe we divide and conquer, like one person takes goal number 1, one person takes goal number 2, one person takes goal number 3, like a first cut, and then we all get together and review it. Or maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read.
That's a great way to do it. Like 1 or 2 people, you're not a quorum, so you can work on it in between bigger meetings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds fine. I mean, I'm definitely happy to go through what you did, Kristen, and take a stab at it for sure.
Okay, so what will happen is first you'll all just so I understand. First you'll all review and then send me anything that you think is missing. And then I'll edit, put everything in. And then do you all want to meet on your own to workshop it, or do you want to like do a 1 to 2 person editing situation? Just so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, can't we work on this outside of the meeting for starters?
Yeah.
Let's say set a date, everybody review it by, say, in a week or so, and then add anything. You can incorporate comments and then send it out to whoever's going to try to organize it, like Kristen suggested, and then try to have that done for the next meeting. I guess you guys talked about more meetings until we get this done. I mean, I don't know. To have all that done and incorporated in 2 weeks might be a little tight on my schedule, but I'm open to see what others say. I mean, I feel like we can send what we have to Merrimack Valley already without this section, though, right? I mean, that was kind of the consensus.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just wait on, send her 1 through 5 or whatever. And
yeah, let's get those wheels going. And then in parallel, we'll bang this out.
yeah, if anyone has like experience with the sort of goal, objective, action item, just like, I mean, I was gonna look at AI, but I haven't done it yet. Just to think about it. And then, and then maybe that'll come after you get your eyes on it.
Yeah, yeah. I think once we go through it, we'll have a better idea of what we're up against. But I mean, just looking at these 10, 12 rows, it looks good.
And was it defined at all in the workbook yet or no? Did they say that this is how it needs to be laid out? Or did we like kind of grab something from 2010 and now we're like making it work here? Or is it laid out right now using terminology and in a way that the workbook requires?
This is the format that Kay provided. So I guess I don't know if it could be like if this spreadsheet columns and could be slightly different. Like we were just talking about the question about funding sources. Maybe for us that doesn't make sense to itemize the funding source, but I think this is consistent with the revised workbook.
Okay.
It says, the action plan itself should be formatted into a table with a year-by-year timetable established to accomplish specific objectives. So I think timing is required. The goals and objectives should be listed in some sort of priority order with a responsible party identified to implement each and where possible, a funding source for accomplishing the task. So I think what we have here is kind of the standard
Yeah.
of what's required.
Well, for instance, I guess I wonder if I kind of like how Hudson broke it up into different tables. It was like goals, actions, and objectives, but so we should maybe look at some other formats of how to do it, of how to like break it up just so we don't have 1.1.a, which is hard to even say. And I think that there are ways to simplify that for sure. So we can do that. I did pull up AI and I feel like it lays right out, right? The goals are broad, long-term outcomes that you aim to achieve over a longer time frame. It's like, what are we trying to accomplish? And then the objectives are specific, they're measurable steps. And then the action items are like concrete tasks you have to take to execute the objectives. But I'll say that I wonder if we can even take out some of the the lowest level there, the action items, to just simplify this a little bit so we don't have 1.1.I. Like if you look at Hudson's, they've got a goal to facilitate implementation of this plan, and they've got an action is pursue funding opportunities or build the town's capacity, but they only have like A and B or A, B, C, D.
Yeah, I mean, we can
underneath
just
there.
like delete this and just have it be A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah.
I feel
And
like that.
there's like lots of ways, right, that we can sort of wind that down. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like a good starting point, but I also think that we might not need to list. We might have like maybe we add in a few more objectives and a few less action items. Like we could regroup them, and maybe that's what you're talking about, Kristen, is like regroup these to have more objectives and fewer action items.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because there was definitely a range of things that like in the documents that I was reviewing, like there's sort of a broad range, right? There's like this property needs to do this, like a very specific, or there's improved stewardship of all town-owned lands. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Christina, is like I think there are different ways to sort it and be really real to Newbury, but just it doesn't like it should be somewhat consistent. Like I don't think you need to get down to like a real nitty-gritty level unless that's really the goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that in the Hudson plan too, and they actually have like a map that shows like pinpoint call out saying, build a boardwalk here by such and such, and I'm like, yeah, like I don't think we're there yet. So I think that's a great example of some getting too far down in the weeds, maybe. And so I like your idea of kind of like pulling it back because that's the data that we have from, from our survey. Um,
And we
So
talked a little bit about that, Bill, at the last meeting, that we will probably have a map. But
Yes,
we
I
have to
think
like finish
it's
start getting our plan first.
I think it's one of the required maps, but yeah, I think
action plan map, yeah, I'm looking at it.
yeah, that'll be something MVPC can provide once we're solid with our plan.
Did you guys talk about action items to be on the map?
We have
No, I
not.
think,
Okay.
yeah, I think that that's like, we wouldn't have the conversation about the map until we finish refining this table.
Okay.
One thing I want to mention that I talked to Sadie about is it's the information you've gotten from the recreation committee was really good. One thing that is missing and what I saw, that at least what I've seen that they provided, is a look at the Massachusetts SCORP. I forget what SCORP acronym, outdoor recreation something, state comprehensive, yeah.
open. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's
Gateway
definitely, there you go. Outdoor recreation plan. So the workbook is very clear that you should have some connection to how your goals fit into their goals. So I think that's something that should go back to the rec committee to work on a little bit more, and there might be some more objectives and actions. Not a lot, like I don't think it has to be any big thing, but someone needs to read that SCORP and just think about like how to bring Newbury's goals into the context of the state's goals.
Can you
So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. I don't know if anyone is connected to folks on the rec committee, or Sadie and I can reach out to them.
I guess I'd be curious to look to see what the SCORP says, because we've had this conversation a couple of times. The recreation committee really works on like organized sports in the town, and open space recreation could mean like a little bit something different that maybe isn't under the purview of the recreation committee, but really actually does stay within the open space committee. So I'd be curious to see what it talks about, and if it really is talking about like open space and trails. It might be that in some towns, recreation, the only open spaces are like, the tennis courts and the basketball courts and and whatnot. It's like actually open things, but we don't have that situation. We have like a ton of open space. And so the Recreation Commission doesn't really focus on that. They just focus on the organized fields. It's almost like the reverse of probably some other towns across the Commonwealth. So happy to get their input. Yeah, and I agree. We could just like weave if they had any other things that they wanted to weave in. But I feel like it should be focused on more related to open space as opposed to their typical purview of organized sports. But
Totally happy to have you dive into the SCORP and like see it could, yeah, that would be the easiest, is just to kind of add some things in ourselves. And it may be, I haven't looked at it. So I think you're right. Like, I think you're identifying that there are distinctions between what the priorities are going to be in this plan. And again, we don't have to cover everything, but just going through the exercise of looking at that Massachusetts plan and thinking about how to bring it in. So yeah, maybe that's the start, as we just all kind of dive into it ourselves a little bit.
Okay.
yeah, I'm happy to take a look at it.
Okay.
Sean, I want to hear, I can see your brain thinking. Do you have any reaction, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, just two things just popped into my head while Christine was talking, and one of them is playgrounds. I mean, to my mind, that's like the ultimate recreation thing, and it's not organized at all. So that's one area that I would see is going to probably pop out of that SCORP plan. I'll take a look at it as well. But and also I was just reminded the Rail Trail 2 in Newbury has a really cool section where people are just growing plants, in these little garden areas. And the trail has like murals and stuff like that. I guess that's what I was thinking that could fit into that category without, but it's clearly not, it's not really, I mean, there has to be the open space to support that sort of thing, I guess, but it's not really open space. I guess I agree with that as well. Anyways, that's what popped into my mind about that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think I know because I've been working with the Board of Boston committee, which obviously there's crossover between this committee and that committee and the rec committee, but I do feel like the folks involved in the rec committee, anyway, there's just overlap, right? But I
Yeah.
think it to the
yeah.
extent we know this plan isn't going to be everything, but like mention the trail work that's happening and how that can continue to be supported because it brings the benefits of people being in outdoor spaces and thinking about, Central Green as a property started out as soccer fields, then it became a basketball court, then there became buildings and bathrooms, then there became it's growing and changing. Where do we want that to be in 10 years? Is there going to be an all accessible walking trail? Is there going to be a landing to get in the river down, at the little island area? Could there be, water access? Just, yeah, thinking, a property like that has a lot of opportunity to incorporate answering the needs that have been identified by this planning process, which is people want to get outside, they want better maps, they want an opportunity to educate themselves. Like, it's just, yeah, working it all together. And that's where maybe the lead and support columns get sorted through a little bit when you identify some of those overlapping goals and objectives.
Okay.
Katie, do
I
you
was
know
just
which is the most recent version of the SCORP? What year it is? What year it was issued?
Yeah, this one's 2023. I'm pretty sure, I don't know how long it lasts.
I think it's a 5-year plan. I think that's the most recent one.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I could be wrong. Maybe they turned theirs into a 10-year plan too. Things are going in that direction.
Okay, that link works. I got it from your PDF. I wasn't sure if it was going to work in the PDF, but it does because every time I searched for it, it only gave me the 2017 version.
Oh.
And yours looked newer than that. So I got it now. Thanks.
Okay, so we have some pretty good action items for ourselves. And maybe let's see, we could nail down a time frame for that, some dates. That probably makes sense, right? So I don't want to jump too far ahead. What else? Yeah, I guess before we start talking about a public meeting, maybe we'll finish talking about developing this action plan, reviewing the score. I guess when you guys were talking about the last meeting, were you talking about doing meetings every 2 weeks? Or do you want to shoot it out to a month?
I mean, we could meet in a month, but I feel like there's a lot of review and stuff to do in between this time. So maybe we could set deadlines in between.
Yeah.
Like I think we could I could ask you all to review this draft of the action plan. But from a week from now, like next Tuesday, you could send me anything that's missing, any comments you have, anything you found within the scope that needs to be included. And then I can incorporate everything that you've sent me within a week and get it back to you. So that'll be 2 weeks out from now.
Mhm.
And then you all wanted to review again after I've incorporated everything. That could be another week, and then I could send it to Kay, but she might not have a chance to review.
Well, we're gonna send out sections 1 through 5 now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be this week.
Yeah.
So she might not be able to review the action plan.
I mean, I think that's reasonable for us to review it. Let's see, yeah, because you take Fridays off. So, yeah, I think try to have it done by the 19th. That review Kristen's action items and make sure that add anything that that we want included.
Mhm.
And then you want a week to incorporate that, you said?
Yeah.
26th. And then between the 26th and the 2nd, it does seem like, yeah, we're getting out to a month for review and incorporate that. So maybe we'd just try to have that squared away by the next planned meeting. That does seem reasonable, but at the same time, people should be reviewing the score, and then if we want to add anything, that should be incorporated as well. So maybe we'll try to review the score as well. Try to get all those comments to you by the 19th, I guess.
Okay. Is that enough time, do you think? I don't want people to rush, but I want to keep it moving as well, which I know you all do.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay,
So,
Yeah.
cool. And I'll include Jim into all of this as well.
Yeah, quick email, Jim would probably be great.
Mhm.
You guys, I'm gonna hop off, but thank you. It's nice weather out. There's a lot going on. Totally appreciate all of you working hard on this. And yeah, I'm really excited. Off it goes to Kay. We get that in shape. We work on these sections, pull it all together, public meeting. I don't know, July, August, and then off it goes.
Can I just ask one question before you go, just in case
Yes.
you know the answer? And it's just, and you might have said this, Sadie, so if you did, I'm sorry if I missed it, but when do those hours that we have with MVPC, when do they expire? Like, when do we need to use them by?
Yeah. So 4.5 hours are sort of what we've already dedicated for her help on this project. And I know we've emailed recently, so she can fit that in. I think that'll probably pretty easily get taken up by reviewing the narrative. And maybe she'll need more time, which we do have some more time. Probably there's one other project we're potentially trying to save some hours for, a transportation project. But so that's till June 30th. And then July 1st, the new allotment starts.
Okay.
So she also said she probably could do like 10 or 12 hours, I think, like this in June, but she has a lot of other things going on as well. So I don't think she really has more time than that anyway. So I do think really probably keeping her focused on the narrative review while we work on the action plan stuff. And then July 1, we can pull her more into the action plan and sort of the overall. Does that answer your question?
It does,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay. Because I think it'll be helpful to have her with the sort of overall packaging as well. But I think we definitely can have hours for that in fiscal year 27 after July 1st.
Okay, so we really have 6 weeks to get her the action plan. To finish up the action plan to get it to her.
That's a good goal.
Okay.
I mean, it's for the whole, she'll have time in the whole fiscal year, but like starting July 1 is when she'll have more time.
Yeah, no, I think we're all anxious to get it done and
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah. Okay, good to know.
Besides the public meeting, the other big thing is sharing with the other boards and committees, right? So that's something just to keep in mind as conversations about when the public meeting's gonna be are. I mean, it's part of the process of that final public review includes making sure that CONSCOM and select board have time to review the final draft plan.
And in your mind, is that after the public meeting, our final public meeting, then we incorporate their comments from the public and then send it off?
We've had a lot of discussion on that.
And
So
I
anyway,
know
it'll be interesting. I think we need like a schedule that everybody can comment in on because we went
yes,
back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this. So
I
not an easy
I
question what you're asking.
I asked Kay, I asked Melissa. They're both kind of like, it's up to you, you know, and I'm just like, I wish you had a more definitive answer, but I think what you have, Christina, makes sense. That schedule you wrote up. I think, and Kristen, I don't mean to keep you longer than you intended, but
That's okay.
I think, and you know, we don't have to get into it now. We can, you know, do what you just suggested, like have a schedule, and if someone wants to change it, we can talk about it. But getting the action plan to Kay, she reviews, and then having the public meeting, getting all that feedback, writing about it in the narrative, and then sending it to boards, committees, getting their letters of approval, or, you know, incorporating any comments they have, and then sending it to DCS. So I think, I'm not sure if that's what we talked about, but that's just what I've been picturing in my mind.
That makes sense to me. I haven't looked at the answer to that question according to the workbook, but I think when you get your final sort of sign off letter from the select board or whoever you have to get it from, I forget, you want it to be done, right? Like you don't want to go out to the public again after that. So I feel like that's probably the last step before it gets sent off to the state.
And I think
And
that's
you
the final
know, just
version. I think
it's
that there's a draft version that goes to the state and they give us some preliminary feedback. And then we send the final version to the town's boards and then they give us the letter. So I feel like they are going to get it twice.
Yes, and I think I think that's true. And I also just wanted to point out I uploaded all of the information that I've gathered around the approval process from different places. I made a folder titled approval process in the Newbury folder, Google folder, with Kay's email, with her full details, Melissa Cryan's email, with the guidebook page that talks about public comments, and Christina, your schedule, so that, you know, when it comes time to be, you know, scheduling the public meeting and everything, we can kind of all look at all the resources at once. So
That'll be helpful. Thank you. Check that out.
yeah.
Okay.
Can I just say something real quick here while I've still got everybody on the meeting here? I just wanted to correct the record. Over the last couple of meetings, I think I've been mentioning that we need an open space plan in order to get that Mass Trails grant that we're working on for the Borders to Boston Committee. I did speak with Amanda Lewis, and it turns out that's not true. We don't need one. It's probably a good idea to have one anyways, but just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. That was that.
Thanks for checking on that. Awesome.
Yep, no problem. We
A
should
little
probably
less
get it
pressure.
done anyways.
Good news. Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
No problem.
It's helpful.
Great.
So when's your next meeting? Did you guys just decide that?
So based on the timeline we're talking about, if we did it, we could probably do our review the action item and everything if it's compressed down, and that would be the second. Our typical meeting, well,
Is next
three.
week. The third,
Yeah.
the third Tuesday of the month.
So if we could do it the 9th, that would be kind of an accelerated schedule. So it'd be a month from now, really.
Does the second not work for folks? Does it not work for you, Bill or Mike or anybody?
The week of the 2nd is better for me than the week of the 9th. And same with the following week, the week of the 16th. The week of the 9th is the lead up to our largest event of the year, which opens Thursday night, Friday. So that's just a tough week.
I can make the second work too. Yep.
Okay.
I can make the second too. I'm all set. Yep.
Me as well.
Same time, same place.
Well, how did this time work? I know it was a little, is 6:30 the time, or how did it work for folks?
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's like it's 7's easier, but I can do 6:30. It's just sometimes I'm a little rushed. That's all. But it's also up. I know, Mike, you've got stuff with kids and stuff too. So I don't know if that works.
Yeah, I think 6:30 is the earliest. I know I said in my email I could do 6, and then I was running in the door at 6:15.
Yeah,
So
Right.
Bill was too.
yeah, so 6:30 is would probably be the earliest for me as well.
Yeah, I haven't even had lunch yet, Mike. So I'm running. And this time I get to go have my lunch.
And maybe should we do 7?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
think
want people
so.
to be scrambling.
Yeah.
Do we want to do in person? Switch off?
I kind of like Zoom myself, but it's up
Yeah.
to the group. I mean, I'm more than willing to alternate. Whatever
Okay. We can do Zoom if it's easier for people.
it is. June
Zoom
2nd,
is.
Zoom. Okay.
7
Great.
o'clock. Okay, got it.
June 2nd, 7 p.m. Zoom. Got it.
All right, and we're going to get back on the new section by the 19th.
Yeah, section 6 that Kristen wrote, the action plan and the SCORP if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so by May 19th, May 19th will be the deadline for comments to me for an initial round of comments, and then I will incorporate them by May 26th, and I'll send you all the documents to review again. And then, sorry, what did we decide for after that step, after the 26th?
We said, I mean, I volunteered to try to organize everybody's stuff. I mean, it sounds like you're already going to be doing that, but we'll be reviewing it and maybe making some suggested. But I'm happy to work on that with somebody else too.
Okay. Okay, so
We'll have that done by the 2nd.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so I mean, we can do ad hoc meetings and what have you. I really haven't had a chance to look at this, so that's
Yeah,
That's
no,
fine, kind of.
I just
But,
was working on it today.
Yep,
But
okay,
yeah,
great.
I think groups of 2 can work together outside of the public forum, but if it's 3 or more, it would have to be a public posted meeting and everything, which could happen in between if you guys would like to do that. I can definitely set that up. But yeah, it would have to be
No,
two
I
people.
think
It
getting
would.
more than two people in one place over the next 4 weeks probably not going to be that easy anyway. So
Right. So
just say,
yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, if one person wants to work with Bill, I don't know, you can figure that out over email if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
take a look,
for the
take a look at what we got. Let me know.
yes. Okay.
good.
So, are we good on that?
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. Does anyone else have questions or?
Okay, great. So on the agenda, we did have set up next public meeting or discuss ideas or format. I'm wondering, we could go down that now, or we could shelve that to next meeting. Seems like we kind of have.
Yeah, I was thinking shelving it might be okay because I feel like yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have so much. I hadn't anticipated having this action plan draft and everything. So I was like, yeah, maybe we should, add something else to talk about. But I feel like this was really good and productive.
Yeah.
With Kristen's great boost there. So yeah, if we want to wait to talk about that until it's more relevant in our timeline, then that sounds good to me.
Okay, I agree with that. Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. All right, great. Any other committee member updates? Anything else going on? I'd like to say Christine did a great job at the town meeting representing the
Yes.
open space command. That was, I mean, I told her afterwards, she's like a professional when she does it. It was pretty flawless in my book.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for stepping up to do that, Christina. That was awesome.
Agreed. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Awesome.
No problem.
Good job.
Great.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Then that's it. We have our meeting date set. So I think that's a wrap.
Good.
Anybody
So I can make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Thank you all. Always good to
Great.
see you. I'll see you on the 2nd.